7 days can change your energy, but 90 days can change who you are. And here's the kicker. Most men will never experience this because they give up before feeling the true power of retention. In the first few days, you already notice focus, vitality, and even different looks around you. But what happens when you reach 3 months? It's something few talk about, because the effects seem almost unbelievable. Have you ever wondered why some men have a magnetic presence that's almost impossible to ignore? The answer may be here. This video will expose the dramatic difference between just 7 days and a 90-day semen retention experience. Get ready, because after hearing this, you'll never look at your own energy the same way again. Many men embark on this path believing that 7 days and 90 days are just numbers. But those who have experienced this know that they are two completely different realities. It's like comparing a beginner's training with the discipline of an Olympic athlete. Both are on the same track, but at different levels of consciousness. The 7 days act as an initial shock, during which the body still adapts, while the 90 days reveal a silent power that cannot be measured in superficial statistics. Imagine a warrior who has just laid down his sword after years of automatic fighting. In the first 7 days without fighting, he feels the weight of abstinence and even finds the silence strange. But as time goes by, he realizes that this pause doesn't weaken him, but rather strengthens him from within. At 90 days, this same warrior is no longer a man trying to control impulses. He becomes master of his own energy, and this mastery is what creates the abysmal difference between the stages. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that the 7 days are a trial by fire, where temptation seems stronger than ever. It's as if the brain is screaming, "Go back to the old pattern, release this energy now." But by resisting, the man notices something subtle happening. His body responds with vitality, his mood improves, and a budding confidence begins to blossom. This is the sign that the battle is just beginning. When someone reaches 7 days, they feel as if they've conquered a difficult mountain to climb. It's that feeling of immediate achievement, like a short-lived prize that already has an impact on real life. They notice they can focus more easily, their mind is no longer so dominated by trivial distractions, and even their physical posture seems to change. However, this is where the illusion lies, believing they've already reached the peak, when in fact they've only opened the first door. At 90 days, the experience shifts to a new level. The body no longer simply reacts, it transforms into a more stable, balanced, and conscious system. Energy is no longer an unstable wave, but a continuous current, fueling focus, clarity, and self-confidence. At this point, the individual not only feels disciplined, but also realizes that retention has shaped a new identity within them, solid as stone. This comparison between 7 and 90 days is not to diminish the importance of the beginning, but to show that there are layers to transformation. Just as when reading a profound book, you understand the introduction in the first few pages, but it's in the middle and at the end that the most powerful revelations appear. Similarly, the 7 days give a taste of the power, but the 90 days bring the true understanding of what this practice can do. A good example is someone who decides to learn to play the guitar. In the first week, they can strum a few notes, and that's already a source of joy. But after 3 months, their skill is so different that they seem like a different musician. The same thing happens here. In the first 7 days, you experience the novelty and the initial spark. By 90, you've mastered the chords of your own life force. Another important point is social magnetism. After 7 days, the person already notices different looks, as if there were something new in their presence. But after 90 days, this magnetism is not only perceived by others, it is felt internally as an aura of natural authority. It's as if the world responds to a new vibrational field that has stabilized within the person, and this generates respect, curiosity, and even admiration. This is where the question that separates those who merely experiment from those who truly transform their lives begins to emerge. Are 7 days enough to change, or are they just a preview of the true power that awaits beyond? This doubt is the fuel that drives many to go further, seeking the next level. And in a way, it's inevitable to realize that the first step is just an invitation to continue the climb. Because if within 7 days, a person already feels the impact on their body and mind, imagine what happens when they overcome greater barriers. It's at this point that the battle between the short and long term begins to reveal its mysteries, and the body, with its signals, provides the cue for the next lesson. If you're just starting out with semen retention and want to learn how to practice it the right way, safely, and with results, I've prepared an essential ebook for beginners. It's a direct, simple, and transformative step-by-step guide. The link is in the first pinned comment. During the first 7 days of retention, the body experiences a kind of reality check. It's as if it's been accustomed to a routine of energy waste and is suddenly forced to reorganize the entire system. The brain feels the change immediately. Dopamine levels begin to adjust, and the feeling of mental focus gains strength. Small tasks that previously seemed tedious, like making the bed or organizing the workspace, become more energetic. Vitality increases noticeably. Many report waking up feeling more energetic, as if their internal battery were being double-charged. This effect is explained by the body no longer needing to constantly replenish what was previously wasted. Energy reserves begin to be redirected to basic functions: concentration, willpower, and even mood. It's the first breath of clarity a person experiences. Sleep also undergoes adjustments. The first few nights may feel restless, as if the body were on constant alert. This happens because the nervous system is still adapting to the new rhythm. However, when sleep does come, it tends to be deeper and more restful. Waking up with less of a burden on your mind is one of the first rewards of the 7 days. Another important detail is the increased level of confidence. Even if it's early, the simple act of managing to go a week without giving in to old patterns generates pride. It's as if an inner voice begins to say, "If you've made it this far, you can go further." This small victory already changes your posture, your walk, and even your way of relating to others. Physically, the body shows subtle signs of renewal. Skin appears firmer, eyes take on a different glow, and even the voice may sound more confident. This is a direct reflection of the hormonal balance that is beginning to establish itself. Testosterone is showing its first signs of rising, and even if it's not yet at its peak, it's enough to transform how you perceive yourself in the mirror. In terms of productivity, the 7 days offer a surprise. What once took hours to complete can now be completed in minutes. The mind is freed from constant distractions, and focus becomes more stable. It's as if time multiplies. Some report being able to read more pages of a book, write more clearly, or even come up with ideas for projects that had been dormant. Emotionally, the change is noticeable. Anxiety tends to decrease, not because it disappears completely, but because energy is no longer wasted on automatic behaviors. People begin to realize they can breathe more calmly when faced with everyday challenges. This is one of the biggest initial gains, the feeling of being a little more in control. It's also worth highlighting the impact on relationships. In the first 7 days, family, friends, and colleagues may not understand what's happening, but they notice something different. Patience increases, conversations flow with greater presence, and even the way we look at others changes. It's as if a new vibration begins to be transmitted from within. These initial effects act as a retention calling card. They show the man that, yes, change is possible, and that sexual energy is much more powerful than he imagined. It's at this point that many feel extra motivation to continue, because they realize they're on a real path of transformation. But it's precisely at this point that the mind also sets its biggest traps. Because at the same time the body vibrates with new gains, temptations intensify. It's like a stress test to prove whether the 7-day progress is solid or just fleeting enthusiasm. And this tension paves the way for the next challenge of the journey. In the first 7 days, the greatest enemy isn't the body but the mind. It insists on pulling back old habits, like a magnet trying to regain what it's lost. The person feels that suddenly, everything invites a relapse. A memory, an image, even a street sign seems to be a trigger. This mental bombardment is the first major test, and many don't understand that it's precisely proof that the brain is trying to adjust to the new pattern. Anxiety tends to intensify during this phase. It's not uncommon to feel a near-constant restlessness, as if your body constantly demands movement or distraction. Many people resort to overeating, compulsive cell phone use, or even procrastination to try to relieve this tension. Here's the key. Redirect this energy into activities that drain excess stimulation, such as physical exercise or reading something that expands the mind. Another challenge is nighttime pollution, known as wet dreams. They can occur unexpectedly and cause frustration, as if all the effort has been in vain. But the truth is that this isn't a relapse, but rather a natural process of the body. The important thing is not to cling to guilt and understand that this is part of the adaptation process. Those who persist in moving forward, even after these occurrences, strengthen their discipline. External temptations also become more evident. Simply accessing social media is enough to be bombarded with images that previously went unnoticed but now seem more eye-catching. This is a sign that sensitivity is heightened, and it's necessary to create conscious filters. A simple practice is to clean up your feed, unfollow accounts that fuel triggers, and invest time in content that nourishes the mind rather than drains it. In social settings, another obstacle arises: jokes and incomprehension from others. Many men prefer not to talk about their practice, but when they do, they may hear ironic comments like, "That's impossible," or "Why torture yourself like that?" These external voices act as tests of conviction. Those who stand firm realize they're cultivating something rare: the ability to stick to a decision without needing others' approval. Emotional loneliness can arise during these times. While the habit of seeking immediate pleasure was a refuge, now a person may feel empty or bored. This is when they need to learn to be at peace with themselves, without resorting to automatic relief. Practices such as meditation, journaling, or even walking in silence help fill this space with awareness, not escape. The body also manifests physical signs of the struggle. Irritation, fatigue, or even mild muscle aches may appear, as if pent-up energy is seeking an outlet. This is when activities like running, weight training, or martial arts become allies. Besides releasing excess energy, they help transform this energy into tangible strength, visible even in the mirror. A curious detail is that the mind tries to negotiate. "Just this once, no one will know," it whispers, creating justifications to break the promise. This inner voice is treacherous and needs to be recognized as such. Discipline arises precisely when one realizes that one doesn't need to obey every thought that arises. This understanding, simple yet profound, is a turning point in the first 7 days. Of course, physical desire is also intense. Increased libido can be uncomfortable, but it's a sign of vitality. Instead of fighting it as if it were an enemy, the secret lies in learning to channel it. Writing, training, creating personal projects, playing an instrument, all of these serve as creative outlets. In this way, what was once a waste becomes fuel for growth. All these challenges, however difficult they may seem, are initiation tests. They don't arise to defeat, but to prepare the ground for deeper changes. It's as if the 7 days are a sort of screening process, separating those who simply want to experiment from those who are willing to truly dive into this journey. And the body, as it goes through this stage, begins to show even more surprising signs as time goes on. After 90 days, the body is no longer just resisting, it has reinvented itself. What once seemed like a struggle against impulses now becomes natural. The hormonal system finds a better balance, and testosterone reaches stable levels, sustaining strength, vitality, and mental clarity. The man not only feels more energy, he perceives himself differently, as if he has accessed a more complete version of himself. At this stage, the mind acquires razor-sharp focus. Projects that were previously left on paper begin to be realized because mental energy is no longer wasted on automatic cycles. Many report being able to study for hours with pleasure, work on complex goals without procrastinating, and even make difficult decisions with unprecedented confidence. The brain no longer operates on autopilot, but in creative mode. Physically, the change is visible. Posture becomes more upright, the gaze firmer, and the presence more magnetic. Skin tends to become healthier, muscles respond better to training, and even the tone of voice becomes firmer. It's as if the entire body is a living showcase of acquired discipline. This magnetism is natural. It doesn't need to be forced, it simply radiates from within. Emotionally, the 90 days bring a rare serenity. The anxiety that was once a constant companion no longer carries the same weight. A calm confidence emerges, unaffected by outside opinions. It's the kind of presence that enters a room and changes the atmosphere, not by making noise but by conveying stability. This is one of the greatest signs of transformation. The individual stops being reactive and becomes a conductor of their own energy. Relationships also take on a new dimension. After 90 days, the outlook changes, and this is noticeable to everyone around. Romantic partners feel more attraction, friends notice more respect, and even strangers respond differently. This phenomenon isn't mystical, it's energetic. The body transmits signals of vitality that are instinctively picked up. It's the same principle that makes a leader followed without needing to beg for attention. Another powerful aspect is spiritual clarity. Accumulated energy isn't limited to the physical or mental realm. It opens the door to deeper experiences. Many report feeling more intuitive, perceiving signs around them, and even developing an interest in practices that elevate consciousness, such as meditation, yoga, or reading philosophical works. It's no coincidence. After 90 days, vital energy begins to align with something greater. Productivity reaches unprecedented levels. Imagine waking up and having clarity about what needs to be done, without wasting time on useless distractions. This is how many describe this stage. Projects that were stalled begin to move forward. Opportunities arise because the person is more attentive, and time seems to yield more. This phase is comparable to a state of continuous flow, where work and pleasure blend together. A curious detail is the financial impact. Not because retention creates money out of thin air, but because the clarity and discipline gained translate into better choices. People begin to invest their time better, avoid unnecessary expenses, and see opportunities for growth. It's common for many to have started businesses, studied investments, or taken concrete steps toward financial independence after 90 days. Health also shows tangible results. Immunity strengthens, physical fitness increases, and recurring illnesses tend to decrease. The body functions like a fine-tuned machine, with greater efficiency. Vitality translates into endurance, strength, and faster recovery. All of this shows that retention is not just a control practice, but a way to recalibrate the body to operate at peak performance. After 90 days, the man is no longer the same as he began the journey. He discovers that the real gain isn't just energy or focus, but a transformation of identity. What was just an attempt becomes a lifestyle. It's at this point that he realizes that retention isn't a temporary challenge, but a key to opening doors he never imagined. And the accumulated energy begins to seek new avenues to be used. Everything I'm explaining to you here, I break down more calmly in my ebook The Power of Semen Retention. It was created for those who are starting from scratch and want to know how to apply semen retention to their daily lives in a healthy way, without any crazy ideas or exaggerations. It's a practical guide, straight to the point. When a man reaches 90 days, something surprising happens. Sexual energy, previously wasted, begins to transmute into creative force. This energy ceases to be merely a physical instinct and becomes fuel for building, innovating, and leading. It's as if the same impulse that once sought immediate pleasure becomes an invisible engine, driving achievements in work, studies, and even spirituality. Transmutation doesn't happen by magic, but by the direction a person gives to their own energy. If they channel it into writing, they create books. If they direct it toward work, they achieve results beyond expectations. If they turn to spirituality, they experience a depth never before accessed. Sexual energy, at this stage, becomes versatile. It takes the form of whatever you choose to feed it. It is at this point that natural leaders emerge. Men who were once shy begin to speak in public with conviction. Those who procrastinated on projects begin to put them into practice, as if an inexhaustible source of discipline had been activated. This presence magnetizes opportunities, people, and situations. Transmutation is precisely this, transforming desire into action, and action into concrete results. The creative field also flourishes. Musicians report composing more, writers develop profound ideas, and entrepreneurs see innovative solutions to long-standing problems. It's as if the brain receives an injection of clarity and originality. It's no coincidence. Sexual energy contains the life force, and when directed, it becomes a source of creativity in any field a person chooses to explore. Beyond creativity, a more awakened spirituality emerges. Many find they can meditate for longer, feel a greater connection with silence, and even experience clearer intuitions. This spiritual expansion is not separate from the physical, but a consequence of the same phenomenon. Vital energy rises, vibrating at more subtle frequencies. It is at this point that retention ceases to be merely a discipline and becomes a path to self-knowledge. In relationships, this transmutation creates a different magnetism. A man no longer needs to chase approval, because his energy already speaks for himself. His presence attracts naturally, effortlessly. It's the difference between a dim bulb trying to shine and a sun that simply illuminates. This shift in vibration is felt in love, friendships, and even in the professional environment. Another powerful aspect is clarity of purpose. When energy is transmuted, it's not scattered in fleeting desires, but focused on what truly matters. The individual gains direction, as if an internal compass has been activated. They realize which paths are worthwhile, which relationships strengthen them, and which habits no longer serve them. This clarity is one of the greatest rewards of the journey. A practical example. Consider someone who starts investing this power in their own business. The discipline gained through retention translates into focus on studying the market, making strategic decisions, and resisting the temptation to give up. This extra energy not only sustains the effort, but also generates faster results. This is how practice begins to transform not only the individual but also their material reality. In the body, the transformation is also noticeable. Physical training seems to yield more results, recovery is accelerated, and strength increases. This happens because sexual energy contains biological vitality, which, when preserved, strengthens muscles, the nervous system, and even the immune system. It's like having premium fuel fueling every cell. The body becomes living proof that this practice generates concrete results. After 90 days, the man understands that holding back isn't just resisting, but transforming. He realizes that his energy doesn't need to be a burden, but a tool. And when he learns to channel this power, he discovers that there's something even greater ahead. The effects aren't limited to the personal realm. They begin to shape his entire practical life. The true test of retention lies not only in the body or mind, but in the reflection it generates in real life. After all, there's no point in accumulating energy if it doesn't translate into concrete changes in daily life. It's at this point that people begin to realize that their inner discipline directly influences their work, relationships, and personal projects. What once seemed distant now begins to take shape before their eyes. At work, retention manifests itself as increased productivity. Tasks that used to drag on are completed with clarity and determination. People become more proactive, more courageous in taking on responsibilities, and even more creative in problem-solving. This attitude attracts the attention of leaders and colleagues, who notice the difference even without understanding the exact cause. Retention becomes an invisible competitive advantage. In relationships, the impact is profound. A more present, confident, and disciplined man naturally attracts respect. Romantic partners feel more confident around him. Friends begin to value his opinion, and even family members notice a new maturity. It's as if vital energy, when preserved, spills over into emotional balance, patience, and social magnetism. He stops being just another person and becomes a role model. Another important impact is on health. Retention strengthens the body, increases energy, and reduces stress-related symptoms. Small changes begin to be noticed. Less fatigue, more concentration, improved mood, and even strengthened immunity. This vitality allows people to participate more actively in life, without feeling drained or trapped in cycles of exhaustion. It's internal energy creating a more solid external life. In spirituality, the impact is equally transformative. Those who practice retention find their connection with the invisible deepening. Prayers, meditations, and spiritual practices gain intensity and clarity. They feel a stronger intuition and begin to see patterns that previously went unnoticed. This alignment between body, mind, and spirit creates a sense of purpose that guides their choices more firmly. Even in finances, the difference is evident. The discipline acquired through retention translates into more conscious decisions. Less impulsive spending, more focus on investing, and more clarity in seeing opportunities. Many report that, after 90 days, they can finally organize their accounts, start profitable projects, or take the first steps toward financial independence. The pent-up energy translates into practical prosperity. In social life, magnetism is remarkable. People begin to seek the company of those who radiate vitality and security. A man doesn't need to strive to attract attention, because his presence already conveys silent strength. This can open doors to friendships, professional connections, and even unexpected opportunities. The impact of retention goes beyond self-confidence. It creates a network of possibilities around the practitioner. Discipline also spills over into other areas. Those who manage to maintain 90 days of retention discover they can apply that same willpower to learning a language, developing a talent, or even changing eating habits. This consistency is rare in a world addicted to instant gratification, and therefore becomes a differentiator. Retention proves, in practice, that discipline in one area strengthens all others. An often overlooked detail is how time begins to be used more wisely. Previously, hours were wasted on energy-draining habits. Now those same hours are spent on activities that build energy. People realize they can read more, study more, and undertake more. Retention teaches, in a practical way, how to invest time instead of wasting it. This is one of the greatest long-term impacts. All of this shows that the 7 days already bring small victories, but it's at 90 that life truly begins to change palpably. It's at this point that people understand that their transformation isn't just internal, but a complete reconfiguration of how they exist in the world. And this realization leads them to see, more clearly, the true difference between the stages. Want to start your journey with awareness and confidence? Then click on the first pinned comment now, get the ebook, and take the first step toward your transformation. It's all there, clear, objective, and designed for those who truly want to evolve. The key isn't choosing between 7 or 90 days, but understanding the role of each phase. The 7 days serve as a gateway, an invitation to experience the initial taste of transformation. The 90 days represent complete immersion, when energy ceases to be an experiment and becomes part of one's identity. The true difference lies in the depth of change each stage reveals. In the first 7 days, the man notices signs: more energy, renewed focus, and initial self-confidence. These results are motivating, but still fragile. It's like planting a seed and watching the sprout emerge from the earth. Beautiful to behold, but vulnerable to any storm. After 90 days, the sprout becomes a tree with firm roots, capable of withstanding external pressures without easily breaking. Another point is that the 7 days reveal the internal struggle, while the 90 days reveal the victory over it. At first, the mind resists, the body takes its toll, and temptations seem unbearable. But over time, discipline becomes natural, and effort gives way to inner peace. This difference is crucial. At first, the person feels like they're swimming against the current. At 90, they realize they've learned to surf the wave. Identity also undergoes distinct changes. During the 7 days, the person still sees themselves as someone testing their limits. At 90, they see themselves as someone who has gained real power over themselves. This shift in identity alters not only how they act, but also how they perceive themselves in the world. The real difference lies in ceasing to be an apprentice of their own energy and becoming its master. In relationships, this evolution is also clear. Within a week, the magnetism is noticeable but unstable, like a flame wavering in the wind. After 90 days, this flame transforms into a steady fire, radiating warmth and security. The difference lies in consistency. While the short term attracts curious glances, the long term inspires lasting respect. In everyday practice, the 7 days offer motivation, but still with ups and downs. A person can feel confident today and vulnerable tomorrow. At 90, the oscillation diminishes and confidence becomes a natural state. The difference is like driving a car on a bumpy road and then on a smooth highway. In both, there's movement, but the experience is completely different. The spiritual impact also reveals distinct nuances. During the 7 days, the individual perceives glimpses of connection, as if a small window had opened within themselves. At 90, this window becomes a wide-open door, revealing a clearer vision of purpose, intuition, and life direction. This difference is not only in intensity, but also in the depth of the awakening of consciousness. Another important point is clarity of purpose. After just 7 days, there are still doubts, setbacks, and insecurity about how far the practice can lead. But after 90 days, there's no doubt. The person knows from personal experience that this discipline is a key to power. The real difference lies in conviction. Those who reach 90 no longer wonder if it's worth it, they know it is. Even the physical body exhibits this duality. 1 week, there's extra vitality, but it's still unstable. At 90, the body operates at a new level, with more strength, immunity, and sustained energy. This difference is like feeling the impact of strong coffee versus living with a naturally elevated metabolism. The former is a fleeting stimulus, the latter is a new way of existing. In the end, the real difference between 7 and 90 days isn't just the time, but what each period awakens. The beginning reveals possibilities, the long term reveals identity. And this journey teaches that, as incredible as the initial gains may be, there's an even higher level waiting for those who decide to continue. Now that you understand the difference between 7 and 90 days, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you remain trapped in the cycle of immediate pleasure, or will you use this energy to transform your life? Only you can decide whether you will be a slave to your impulses or a master of your own strength. Stop and think. What would your life be like if you had constant focus, a magnetic presence, and clarity to make important decisions? What would your relationships, your career, and even your spirituality be like? The answer lies not in theory, but in practice. 7 days already prove the impact, but 90 days reveal an identity you may not even know exists. And now I want to hear from you. Have you tried retention? Did you make it to 7 days or beyond? Share in the comments, because your experience may inspire other men to start this journey. Let's create a community of transformation, where each victory serves as an example for those just starting out. If this content opened your eyes, like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here you'll continue learning about semen retention and how to use this energy to achieve your best version. The choice is before you. Either waste it or transform it. And believe me, transformation is much more powerful than you imagine.